And we are about 23 hours after kickoff of last night's game, but I mean, still just as pumped. At least I am. I know you all are too. What a game to have witnessed. You're listening to Tried and True, the DC United Postgame podcast presented by Heineken, and we're going to break down the entire victory against Montreal last night. Sam Kasner, I'm joined by Joshua Morgan and Michael Black. John Lee, unable to be with us today, but I know he's pumped at the 3 points too. So what are y'all feeling today?
I'll let you go, Black.
I'm still just excited as y'all are. I think, at this point, we're seeing DC United coming off a 5-game unbeaten streak, including 3 wins over teams that are in a similar place in the table to us. It's an exciting time to be a DC United fan. You watched that game yesterday, and the entire time you felt like it was a team that could go out and seize the victory, which has been all too rare occurrence over the last few years. Again, we'll acknowledge that Montreal was a bit depleted. They had a goalkeeper making his first start, but that was a fun team to watch and a team that created and I think really deserved the 3 points yesterday.
Yeah, I'll say we're a bit depleted as well, so I'm not going to give them too much credit.
Yeah, I think going into this, I saw this as two teams that were, kind of similar in the sense that they were being managed by new managers. Wilfred Nancy has been with Montreal for a while, but he's finally taken over and given the chance, and he's proven well. Montreal were on a tear and were in a playoff spot before last night, and both teams kind of punching above their weight. And I was interested in seeing it. Now, kind of looking back, it feels like it was inevitable that DC was going to win. They've been on such a string of, not wins, but there's 2 now, but it kind of feels like the momentum's moving in the right way, which is a stark contrast from when I did this show before this 9-game stretch or 9-day 3-game stretch where we were talking about, oh man, we just lost to Cincinnati. These next 2 games are going to be harder. We might be ruining this, and then we end up winning the last 2 and still getting 1 point off of Cincy away. It feels good.
Yeah, no, it feels really good. So DC United are unbeaten in 5 with 3 wins, 2 of them away, I believe. And I like this stat that Black pulled as well after this weekend. DC United are 6th in the table with 27 points and 27 goals scored, which is more than the 25 goals scored last year all season. So we're already doing really well, right? As Black said, it's such a fun time to be a DC United fan right now. And, yesterday's game, I felt like was always in our hands. It was always ours for the taking, and we absolutely took it.
Well, we weren't leading the whole time, but yeah, their goal was
always within reach.
A Schross against the run of play that Kempin's probably going to want back. But you mentioned we're above the playoff line, but we're also like 3 points from second place or something, or 3 points from third place. It's absolutely a tight race, and we're in contention here because we keep beating the teams around us in the standings, and that's been crucial for. I don't know, this playoff push, maybe? I don't know. It's still about mid-season, but...
I'm going to have to make a compilation of me at the beginning of the season, just like hyping up Lasada and y'all being like, I don't know, because it's been so fun to watch.
There's been times to pump the brakes, but right now is not one of them. She got Black.
And I'm going to pump the brakes as well because, obviously we have this table. We're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to continue to provide updates on that throughout the season. We've still got 16 games left. It's a little early to live and die on every result around us. I think the point you made, Joshua, about beating the other teams around you in the table is a much more important thing than where you are in the table. As long as you're handing out, frankly, as long as you're putting up 3 points, you're going to be in a great situation. But to beat folks who are in a similar position to you, that's a lot more valuable than saying, oh well, if we just had one more win, we'd be in second place right now. Aside from the Revs, the Eastern Conference is wide open. The Revs are kind of running away with it with 40 points up there, and if they were to keep that up, they would, I think, be close to setting a record pace for the season. And who knows what's going to happen there. But everything else is to play for. And talking about playoff expectations, I know Sam had the most positive take on it at the beginning of the season, but we heard from Coach Lasada in his press conference this week talking about what his expectations were, and he said himself, the goal is not to make playoffs this year. they'll certainly take it, and they're not going to intentionally throw away a spot or anything like that. But his goal all along has been to get this team playing the style that he wants them to play, to get it to be an identifiable style that people know what they're getting, and a style that's difficult for opponents to play against. And we're definitely seeing that. So while the playoff spot may be a while into the future, we're definitely seeing that style that DC United wants to be known for, and that's coming at a great time to gear up for this last half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I see John in the comments saying that we're a lot better right now than he thought we would be at this point in the year, and I think that's a general consensus among the fan base. And you saw that a little bit yesterday, right? Montreal score off, I don't know what word you said earlier, Joshua.
It's a shot plus a cross put together.
Yep. So that happened. And there definitely was a couple moments when you thought, okay, if Montreal really sits back in bunkers, that's going to cause a problem for DC United. We've seen that problem happen throughout the season. And I think getting that goal before going into half was critical. I still think Montreal would have been happy to leave at the point, and they could have done whatever with their halftime talk, but I thought that getting that goal before they could go into the halftime and talk about how they're all just going to basically stand on the goal line, I thought was really important.
Yeah, goals change games no matter when they happen, but one right before halftime, and you kind of felt like DC United needed that because, teams have come out and caught us on the counter and then bunkered and then stolen all 3 points, and it was good to see a little bit more quality and a little bit more determination tonight and getting the points back. So.
Yeah, I loved this one too because you've got Andy Nahara rising up for the header and then kind of slapping hands with his teammates, but going and celebrating with the coaching staff, and you absolutely love to see it. Not
just the coaching staff, but his boy Frutito or Frutas is the coach, and they call Andy Frutito. There was a great piece by DC United this week about his story and how basically they convinced him to come to DC with them. They knew him over there in Belgium. Which is just a weird mashup that DC United. Maybe that was a factor. I don't know, but it's worked out great. And really, I think Extra Time even admitted it that Andy Nahara at the right center back position has been a revelation, probably one of the biggest in the league. He's been so good there, and it came out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Black, unless you have anything to add about that first goal, I'll let you kind of tee up the second goal because it was also definitely one that we needed at a great point in the game.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that first goal is, to Joshua's point, goals do change games, because that first 15 minutes, DC United was very much on the front foot, and I think they were unlucky to not already have one at that point. But between then and when the DC United goal occurred, Montreal started to settle into it a little bit, started to feel a little bit more confident, and it was certainly a more even back and forth there, and then. You're going to have ebbs and flows throughout the game, but that was definitely against the run of play and served to definitely make it more interesting in a bad way for DC United fans. But fortunately, it turned out the right way.
Great point. Yeah, and then that second one, Kamara just takes at the top of the box. I think he gets crossed over to him, and he just kind of takes a curler right out, which is beautiful and made Joshua a little bit insufferable in the stands. I'll let you have your moment now, though, because it's deserved at this point.
No, we've seen that his first goal ever at Audi Field and for DC United was like a quick turnover, and then he bends it from way far out against Red Bull. And I think we've seen it a couple more times since. If you can get him the ball there, he's going to put it away because he knows how to finish. And I'll throw out, we probably will hit this later, I will. Tony Alfaro gets the assist on there. I think he had one of the better games of his career that I've known. And it was beautiful. And that's what Ola can do. And now he's got 10 goals. He's got like 9 games or something. There's a bunch of like weird math because his minutes have been managed, and we can talk about that more too. But I don't know how you can not be excited about that game-winning goal from your striker, your number 9. I know you're all sweating about that, but it's looking like he's coming through now.
Yeah, he makes it a lot easier for us to overlook the fact that we didn't really make any moves in the transfer window. And as long as he keeps averaging a goal a game, it's going to be very hard for anyone to get too upset about that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So yeah, I think that's all the major highlights, those being the goals, right? There was obviously a lot of other things that happened during the game, and we're excited to get into them. But first, we're going to head over to the press conference. We've got the audio of that for you all today, and we're going to hear from head coach Hernan Losada first.
Coach, congratulations on the 3 points.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, we'll go right to questions. We'll go to Steve Goff.
Hernan, thanks for your time. Team's in a good place right now, it seems. Could you discuss the form and the confidence that your team is playing with the last few weeks?
I think it's built on a lot of sacrifice and hard work, Steve. I don't think we need to forget from where are we coming. That's why my quote number one during this press conference will be "Feet on the ground, keep on working. Still 16 games to go." Was an almost perfect week for us, having 2 games on the road and taking 4 out of 6 and finishing the week with 3 points at home. We keep on building up that home reputation at Audi Field with our fans, and that's fantastic. And I think once again, the victory is very deserved based on the amount of opportunities we have, based on our energy and high press, who gave us a lot of opportunities to score. I think once again, there was a lack of efficiency because we had a lot of moments where we could score goals out of those high pressing moments, and we didn't. The goal of Montreal comes from a lucky moment. The guy wants to play a cross, and finally it comes on the far post of John Kempin. And still you come 0-1 behind on the game, and the team stay calm, relax, and keep high speed circulation. We used a lot of energy during the first half. That's why on the second half was more choosing the right moments to press and falling back more in a medium block like we did in Columbus, even playing at home, because we were running out of gas. It was a matter of finding the right moments to bounce back. And I told to Ola during the halftime, he was playing a poor first half, but still I knew and I was 100% sure that he was going to have that moment that a number 9 under full of confidence like him will have, and he was very cool blood to finish that, again, that very good high press moment that we had collectively. First is Josep Mora, and it's even Tony Alfaro pressing from a center back position to win that ball back, and finds Ola, who got that extra second to put the ball on the back of the net. So after that, we had the game under control. Montreal didn't create any single moment of danger, and you feel that this team is getting very mature and knows how to close games. So against 2 straight opponents for us, fighting for that last spot on the playoff, like Columbus and Montreal, we could take 6 out of 6, and we are very, very happy. So now we have 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, to reload the batteries. Again, a normal week, try to recover some bodies and keep focused for the future.
We'll go to Pablo. Pablo.
And not, I want to ask you a little bit more about Ola. Obviously, 9 goals in 9 games. Had a goal tonight that was really well taken. This from a player who contributed maybe more sporadically for the past year and a half. I wonder what you think. What sort of qualities have made him more successful this year, more consistent? What have you seen out of him generally?
I'm sorry to correct this. He's 10 goal number 10, and I think he started 6 games, or this was his 7th game out of 18 games. So if there is something to get better from Ola's side, is his fitness. I'm very happy that he could complete the game today with 90 minutes, and his efficiency based on the minutes he played is amazing. So for a player who only scored 4 or 5 goals last season, he already have 10, and is a key player for us in our team. On paper, Ola is the only true number 9 that we have. It's also the only 9 that right now is fit in our roster, and that's why we take care so much of him, and we always try to have a good communication to control the loads during the week and try to make sure that he's fresh for the weekend. But super happy with his performance, and let's hope Ola and the rest of the team keep on performing this way.
We'll go to Jason Anderson.
Hi, Hernan. Thanks for speaking with us, and congrats on the win. I wanted to ask about a halftime adjustment. It looked from the press box, at least, like you made with Arriola and Paredes switching sides. What were you looking for in making that adjustment? And I mean, it looked like it paid off, but was there anything in particular you were looking for out of them?
Well, we tried to do that already after 35 minutes in the first half. We needed an extra man on the midfield because they started the game in a 4-3-3. So they had an overload and an extra player on the midfield, and that's why we dropped Paul on the left side to press on Piet, his captain. And so we could press high and have a 1v1 in the midfield with Junior, Moses, and Paul. That was the adjustment, to have more freedom up front with Kevin and Ola, and then have more opportunities in transition. And I think it was the right change to do. I already tried to do during the first half. On halftime, it was a lot more clear for the players, and we saw the results during the second half.
We'll go to Sarah Classy. Sarah.
I'm sorry, I was still muted. Congratulations again, Coach. I had a question about Andy Nahar and his goal. I wanted to know what your feeling was seeing him score that goal. It was his first in black and red in a very long time, and we saw a really beautiful celebration afterward as well.
No, it's beautiful to see the progress of a player like Andy, from where he's coming and where he is right now, scoring an important goal that provides us 3 points. But I think Andy is the best example of how this team has developed and has grown the last couple of months, how we were when we came back after that long break due to COVID, and where we are right now. 16 finals to go. I told them, to the players, that we need to stay calm, that we need to stay humble, because there is a lot to come and a lot of hard games to come. But well, we are 1 point distance from the third place. We already have kind of a gap with the teams below us, and we need to keep on working. I believe there are still things that we can get better, and it's important to stay humble and stay hungry, because this team is a tough team to play against, and I really like to be their coach. So all the progression you see on Andy is the same progression that you see in the whole team, and I'm very proud to see that.
We'll do one more question, Coach. Mario Amaya.
Hola, Hernán. Felicitaciones por la victoria. Solo quiero preguntar cómo te sientes ya después de varios partidos, donde varias semanas donde han jugado 2 partidos cada semana, tener una semana de descanso antes de tu próximo partido ante Nashville.
Estoy muy cansado, muy cansado. Ha sido una semana agotadora. Todos los chicos necesitan un break. Estamos dándolo todo en cada partido. No tenemos tanto recambio, tenemos muchos jugadores lesionados que todavía estamos esperando que regresen, como Edison Flores, como Donovan Pines, que también ha regresado del equipo nacional lastimado. Así que bueno, necesitamos un break, por eso lunes y martes será libre para los jugadores. Y bueno, es una competición muy dura, donde se juegan muchos partidos, donde hay muchos viajes, y hay que saber juntar fuerzas y tener planes de juego muy inteligentes para poder presionar en los momentos justos, para poder estar en un bloque organizado en los momentos justos. Y este equipo está creciendo colectivamente y sabe muy bien cuándo hacer cada cosa. Y me gusta cómo el equipo está creciendo, lo maduro que fue hoy durante el segundo tiempo. Así que bueno, muy contento, pero estoy muy cansado, y creo que necesitamos que los chicos que están lesionados comiencen a recuperarse para poder tener más rotación y más opciones a la hora de jugar los partidos. Zach, I would like to say one more thing. I I really believe that the fault on Kevin Paredes is a straight red card. It's a brutal fault, and that was only punished with a yellow card. So I hope the league start to protect those kind of players like Kevin, like they used to protect all the DPs. Well, Kevin Paredes it's one of our DPs, maybe not on paper, but he shows that every single weekend and every time he needs to play. And that was a brutal fault that needs to be punished. So I hope they start to protect our offensive players a lot better.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
That was DC United head coach Hernan Losada. I think I say this every week, but I absolutely love his passion. He is so sharp, and I love how much he speaks his mind to say, no one asked me about this, but I really want to talk about it in talking about that Kevin Paredes foul. And Black actually made the comment that Paredes is a foul merchant, which he's been drawing him left, right, and center. Yeah. But a lot to go over right there. Black, what stuck out to you about what Hernan had to say?
Yeah, starting with the last piece, I think we've very much shown that we are fully in the Kevin Paredes camp, and I think it's interesting to have Coach Losada describing him like that. And frankly, it's certainly playing well beyond what you'd expect from a homegrown player. You're getting production out of him that you would expect from a player many years a senior and certainly more experienced. So he's starting to border on the area of getting a fine. Let's talk about Losada's comments there. Not quite getting to the level of criticizing the officiating, but if Kevin continues to pick up knocks the way that he's been, and remember, Kevin missed a extended period of time with injuries, end of last season going into this season, and it's hard to blame Coach Losada for wanting to protect him there.
Yeah, I think he's definitely walked that line all year, and I don't think he blamed any individual person. He was just saying in general that, well, he said the foul was bad, which I think is you're well within your rights to say that if a foul was you perceive dangerous, and then he didn't name the official or anything. He just said like, I want our players to be protected, and that's a general thing, and I think that's fair to bring up. And it is kind of stark to hear him say that Kevin Paredes is a DP for us, not because I don't think he's that talented, but that's reserved. No, I'm saying I do think he is that talented.
Oh, okay.
Not because I don't think he's that talented,
Okay.
but I think because there's only 3 players on the team that can be a DP. So I think, I'm not saying that he's saying that Kevin Paredes is a top 3 player on this team, but I've seen some activity on Twitter with people saying that he is, and he might be. And we want that guy protected. He draws so many fouls all the time. I like the shot from the coach to protect his player. Yeah,
Far be it to me to get us off of Kevin Paredes for a minute. But he also mentioned Ola and mentioned that he's our only true number 9, and that there's really an intentionality around managing his minutes and managing his health and making sure that he does stay healthy. And there was also has been a lot of talk on Twitter about the fact that we didn't really utilize the transfer window. So what did you all make kind of that background knowledge, and then how he gave Ola that shout out of really being the only one who can get it done for us at top?
It's tough.
Yeah,
go ahead, Black.
Go ahead. Well, talking about Ola, first of all, never let a coach tell you that they're not tracking the stats. Losada was very quick to correct and point out that Ola had 10 goals in the year, not just the 8 or the 9 that the questioner asked. So that aside, I think it's interesting to talk about how the team only has one true number 9, and that you're trying to manage him and make sure that he's available when you are wanting to play with a 9. So I do wonder, there's kind of a disconnect there between what the team wants to do and what the team has observed they need and what they have. Again, they've talked to the media about wanting to bring in the right player and making sure it's a good fit and all that stuff. But it would seem like you would at least need somebody who can fill a similar role to what Ola offers. And Ola's been productive when he's been on the field. I remember having this conversation, back for the Miami game. Was Ola turning a corner, and lo and behold, he's ripped off lots of goals over this last stretch of games and has really been a contributor. Just needs to be out there and doing it on the field.
Yeah, it's tough because I think they did try to address it. Like they brought in Roberta Bolivar. Maybe he's not there yet. They tried Sorga last year. He doesn't seem to be there yet either. And yeah, they haven't splashed the big money. There was rumors that they were going to get this Minnesota player that was on loan from Boca. There was some weird MLS stuff going on there. I think we can say firmly that it's not happening anymore. The window closed, and people were continuing rumors, but I think that one's done and dusted. It was super interesting to hear him say. I mentioned it earlier that he's not playing a lot. I mean, he's not playing 90 minutes every time, and yeah, maybe that's a factor that Roberta is not the same level and injured, and then Bolivar and Sorga are just they're Loudoun guys for now, and that's okay. So it's going to be you kind of have to do that. You kind of have to balance it and keep it on when you think you can grab the winner. Like it's almost like, I mean, hindsight's everything, but it's almost like very intentional that Ola gets the minutes that he does and he scores the goals that he does. He's being, I think, very well managed right now, and I think, man, I'm not going to beat my drum here, but I said this. People around MLS who know his history knows that he can do this in this league, and the players don't just give up once they come to DC United. They need to be put in positions to succeed, and I think that's what we're seeing with Ola right now.
Yeah, I think that's great. We're going to hear from Ola a little bit later in the presser, but I think now's a great time to turn. We're going to hear from Tony Alfaro next.
We'll go to Steve Goff first. Steve, go ahead.
Tony, thanks for your time. This team's in a pretty good place right now. How would you describe the way things are going and how the confidence level seems to be rising with each match?
Yeah, I think the team is really, really coming along. We're halfway through the season, but everybody, everybody seems to be putting in this collective effort, and I think we're all pretty happy with the way things are going so far.
We'll go to Jason Anderson.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for speaking with us, and congrats on the win.
Thank you.
This year, we've seen in the back three, we've seen the guys that have been playing on the right side of it come forward quite a bit, make an impact going forward. Tonight, you got to do that with the pressure and the assist on the game winner. How do you feel about that side of it? Because we know, playing as a center back in a three, you don't really get too many opportunities on most teams to join the attack.
Yeah. I think that's part of the coach's tactics. He wants us to really high press, and he gives us that freedom to get forward whenever we need. So his thing is, if we have to press super high up the field, we're going to do it. We have enough cover in the back. So I think it comes from the tactics and the way team is playing. He has a setup where we can be super offensive at times, but at the same time, we know we have a lot of cover in the back.
We'll go to Dennis Gomez. Dennis.
Buenas noches, Tony. Felicidades por el gane de hoy. ¿Qué te pareció? Bueno, al medio tiempo, ¿qué les dijo el profe para salir a buscar la victoria el día de hoy? Y bueno, felicitarte también por la asistencia.
Sí, bueno, buenas noches. Muchas gracias por su tiempo. La verdad, a medio tiempo, nosotros sabíamos que veníamos dominando el partido, ¿no? Eran cositas que teníamos que mejorar el segundo tiempo, como tener el balón, no perder el balón tanto, ¿no? Así que él nos dijo que teníamos que seguir metiendo presión, porque al nosotros meter presión, ellos iban a cometer errores, que fue lo que pasó en el segundo gol, ¿no? Fuimos a presionar, ganamos el balón ya 3/4 de cancha y fuimos afortunados de meter el gol.
Tony, one more question. We'll go to Jose Umania.
Hey, Tony, congrats on the result.
Thank you.
Coach mentioned that, he's feeling a little tired with all these games, and it's going to be good to get some rest. How's the feeling in the locker room with all these games that have been coming up like twice a week? And how good is it to have this time off to just get healthy again?
It's important, it's tough for us as players to, play 3 games in a week. But I think that just explains the energy and the hunger everybody has, that no matter what, we have 3 games in a week or 6 games in 2 weeks, whatever it is, we're always going to fight. And I think it is important now that we have some time off to recharge batteries and, to go again when we have to.
Ronnie, that's it, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
That was DC United defender Tony Alfaro. Pretty short, but I thought there was quite a bit there. Especially in that last question, we've heard Hernan really, throw some punches at the MLS schedule and how quickly we sometimes have to turn around between games. And I thought that was an interesting perspective that Alfaro was able to give. What do you all think?
There was a bit there, and my Spanish is by no means great, but I know it's better than Sam's. The last question that Losada answered was about having a normal week in this next coming up. And so he mentioned, or not mentioned by name, Flores maybe, and Donovan Pines, who just got back from Gold Cup, and all those guys. And those are the guys that haven't been playing. The guys that have been playing, I'm sure, are even more exhausted, even more tired. It's been tough, and I think DC United, it's kind of, they were doing great on this back-to-back-to-back kind of system. It'll be interesting. Hopefully they come out firing still with a little bit more, freshness in the legs.
Yeah. I definitely got that. As a player, you just got to be ready for it, right? It's a little bit the coach's job to complain about it, but as a player, you just have to get yourself fired up because the game's coming regardless of how you feel about it. So it seemed like in the locker room, at least, there's hopefully some positivity around and guys just getting really fired up to be able to perform on the field. Black, what did you get from it?
Yeah, I think I agree with y'all. Talking about the schedule and congestion, what the schedule is from the beginning of the year. You can, map out and see exactly how many games you're going to be cranking out, and you knew it was going to be crowded with Gold Cup and all the other complications on it. And I think you saw that a little bit toward the end of the game last night. That last 10 minutes or so, DC United very intentionally kind of moved off of their high press and tried to shut the game down a bit. Because frankly, the guys were gassed. Talking about trying to get people back off the injury list. I think some of the guys who were out there last night just need a break. Not that their play had diminished significantly, but you could definitely tell that the effects of playing a lot of games in succession starting to catch up to you. And when you play a system like we play and you have the challenges that we have, that's just going to exacerbate it. So it couldn't have come at a better time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and before we transition away, I got to get it in. I mentioned it earlier, but I think this was one of Tony Alfaro's best games that I've seen him in DC United. And talking about, maybe we tried to swing, and get some deals at the strike position, and they're maybe not quite ready yet. You could have said the very same about Tony Alfaro coming into this. His resume was, not great. He had been in the league before, but he had also left, and then he was kind of in Liga MX, but not a real contender or lockdown starter in that league either. And so, that's kind of a bless because he came on tonight and his pressing, but he also had a bunch of good stops in the back. I just want to say it's great to have this depth, when Donovan Pines can't go for whatever reason, and then Tony steps in and plays and was one of the players of the game, I guess. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We're about to hear from our last player, another player of the game, really, DC United forward Ola Kamara.
That's in the goal and the 3 points, man.
Thank you.
All right, we'll jump in. We'll go to Steve Goff.
Ola, thanks for your time. Hernan said that he talked with you at halftime. He said he didn't think you had a good first half, but he was confident that you would come out and find your way in the second half. Is that true? Do you agree with his assessment? And how do you think you performed early in the second half?
I mean, of course, I know I didn't have a good first half, but it's still, when it's 1-1 as the number 9, you can change the whole momentum of the game by a small moment. And that was my focus in the break. He came to me and said, you only need one. And he was right. So it was a good feeling, of course, that he gave me that confidence that he believes in me too.
We'll go to Jason Anderson.
Hi, Ola. Congrats on the goal and the win. Looked a little similar to a goal you've scored at Audi Field right after you got here. I wanted to know how this one stacks up for you as far as goals you've scored since you came to DC. Is this one like a standout, or is there another that's like at top of the table for you?
I think first one against Red Bull is a better hit, and maybe the one in Miami is also better finishing. But I like that it was a quick assessment. I saw the goalkeeper in the first half kind of moving a little bit further to the post because he wanted to play in possession. So I was thinking if I get one chance and we break somehow in some moment, I have to turn quick and do it. And I'm very happy that I followed my instinct and actually did it, And when I saw the corner or the goal was that side was kind of open, it was instinct. So it was a good feeling, Feeling wise, it's one of the best ones. Because now we're on a positive vibe, It's really important in MLS when you got a little bit of momentum that you can really continue that momentum because it's huge in this league.
We'll go to Jose Umania.
Hey, Ola. First off, congrats on the goal. Secondly, on that, the momentum, can you describe a little bit about, or can you explain what about the offense this year is allowing not just you, but others to score more opportunities? And you guys seem to be well connected. And Hernan talks about how you guys have really, really gotten onto his strategy. What is it about this team's and the offensive nature you guys are playing that makes you guys so well gelled together?
I think, of course, it's a commitment to the playing style, and it's very clear how we're playing. And it's also that we always want to go forward. In training, we're always doing the same stuff. Everybody's always looking forward when we win the ball. So we're always, I think, mentally, we're always focused on going fast and quick and trying to score goals. And I think when you have that mentality, I think everybody sees that we want to win, we want to score goals. And when we have a good moment like we're having now, I think people can see that the goals are coming as well,
Last question, we'll go to Dennis Gomez.
Hey, Ola, congrats on the win and the goal tonight. Just to ask you, what did it feel to score against your former club this past Wednesday, and what have you done differently to have a successful season this year?
Oh, I mean, of course, it was a special feeling playing against Columbus, especially in their new stadium. But of course, when you play your old club, you want to show some qualities. So that was a good feeling. Always important to get 2 goals, and now today getting in another one. I'm now getting up to the double digits. So if you stay on 9 for a longer period of time, that can get into your head. So it's nice to kind of get that double digit directly. What was the second question?
What have you done differently this year than past seasons to be able to have a successful season?
I think it has had a little bit of looking myself in the mirror and put my ego to the side a little bit. I have to work hard. I did the off season. I didn't go home. I stayed here for 4 months, just training in the gym, and we're here 6-7 hours all the time. So I didn't have a real vacation. I needed to get in real shape. And then, of course, I think the way we're playing now suits my playing style. So it's a combination of 2 things, I think. Sometimes you need to deserve your luck.
Ola, thanks so much, buddy. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That was DC United number 9, Ola Kamara. Very positive, very, humble, but high spirits, which you love to see.
You could really hear the MLS veteran in there. I thought about that early in the interview, and then he kept hitting on things like, I worked out for hours all summer.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get stuck on 9. Those are real things. And then he finally wrapped it up by saying that the team's tactics kind of fitted him or fit him a little bit better than they did last year, or the lack of tactics last year probably hurt him too. But man, I'm so excited. And yeah, I'll hit on it while it's fresh in everyone's minds. But the 10 goals it's been a while, guys. I think Wayne Rooney was the last person to hit double goals, and while Ola's hit a lot of penalties, I think Wayne probably had hit more at that point. And then before that, it's Emilio, which is way too long. So it's super exciting, and there's plenty of season left, and if as long as we don't have to manage his minutes too much, I think we could see 15 or more from him. Maybe even 20.
Yeah, and just to go back, just to go back to the tactical part, playing so many games in such a short stretch can be a real detriment, but I also think momentum is huge, and that really carried us through the games. And the way that everyone talks about tactics in these press conferences has shifted a little bit from how it was at the beginning of the season. It's no longer necessarily about learning and the entire team trying to get cohesive. There are subtle shifts to now we know it, and we're kind of able to fine tune, and we're able to work as a team to be able to press in the way that Hernan wants. And then at the end of the game, as we've mentioned earlier in this pod, they were able to sit back a little bit and as a team understand what they needed to do to close out the game, which I think is just great progress for halfway through the season, and really hitting our stride going into the second half.
Yeah, and I thought you got a very interesting look into kind of the mindset and how Kamara approached the game. He was talking about how he, at one point early in the game, he saw that the keeper was shading a little bit over, so if he got an opportunity that he might try that curler that ended up resulting in the goal, and then seizing it at the moment. I feel like a lot of times we're watching these guys and thinking, well, they're superior athletes, they just happen to do whatever's in front of them, but there's that level of thought that goes into saying, okay, well, this is the preparation we did, this is what we're trying to do, building up to it, this is what I'm seeing in the game as it's going along, and then having the skill to be able to execute on what you're seeing. It's fantastic. And his final comment there, talking about earning your luck, you certainly appreciate that sometimes it's a cruel game, and you can get had on things that had nothing to do with your preparation, but if you put yourself in a situation where you can create opportunities and finish them, then you're going to be that much better off. Now, we do need to pause the Ola love fest for a second, because he missed a sitter coming across on a pass from Julian. It was a bit hard. It would have required a quick reaction, but he probably should have had two yesterday, and we've talked about that before. It's hard to get on a man too much who's scored 9 goals in 9 games or 8 goals in 8 games or whatever the number is. But I think it just shows that the opportunities are there. And if he continues to take them, we're going to be in a happy place coming into the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we'd be maybe rivaling the Revs if he had put away the other half of the chances, right? And yeah, that's criticism. And I'll acknowledge John just hit me up because I did dog on him a little bit because he was bad last year. And I think there was a little bit of wisdom there. Maybe not, he didn't say bad himself, but he acknowledged that there was some work to do, and he's shown better. And I hope he continues. And yeah, man, if he can start finish these other chances, then maybe 20 is not the limit. But talking about like how the game is cruel, the shot cross that ends up going in, obviously a mistake. I think that one could have easily been saved. Bill was injured in Columbus. He's going to be out 5 to 6 weeks. Luckily, it'll be like a week and a half till our next game, so that time's going by. But we're going to have to play some games without Bill. And Kempin didn't have too much to do yesterday, and when he had something to do, he kind of let it go in the net. What are you guys' thoughts? How are we feeling about Kempin in the back?
Flack, I'll let you go first.
So, how many times have I told you that Bill's worth a goal game?
Basically every game.
Is Bill capable of getting caught on that as well? Certainly. But there is something to be said for having the time in the net and the time on the field, knowing where you're at, and not having the ball go over you. It very much felt like the kind of situation where he was so much expecting the cross that he had already kind of committed to it, and then didn't read what the ball was actually doing. Yeah. And now I'm sure the Montreal player will tell you that was what he saw all along, and hit it exactly like that. We can't prove him wrong, but it had a very interesting trajectory for if it was a shot. But as far as moving forward, the coach talked about how Kempin has earned a spot on the field and earned his role out there, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for that. I'm also equally confident that when Bill's fitness is back and actually back, I don't think they're going to rush him back. I don't think they're going to say, hey, we've got a 75% healthy Bill out there. particularly with his injury history. They'll get him back when he needs to be back. But I'm looking forward to having that team leader out there back between the sticks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, right? I think it would have been hard for any keeper. I don't know that there's anyone I could say definitively would have saved that, because you're right. It was a weird angle. Keeper always would have expected something different, but I do think that is where your experience comes in, and you're a little bit quicker on your feet, and you're a little bit possibly able to get back a little faster and just tip it over the bar. So not necessarily solely on Kempen, but would have loved to have seen a little bit more in that situation. And like Joshua said, there weren't a whole lot of other situations in the game. I mean, he was kind of dribbled around at one point, and Julian Gressel got back, and I don't think he actually blocked the save. I think the shot just went wide, but he absolutely was in the player's mind taking the shot, right? It would have been in the back of the net without a doubt, I think, had Julian not been there. So a couple shaky moments from John. But again, hopefully just getting those minutes and having maybe some other key figures in the back line coming back will help sturdy that situation a little bit. Because you're right, it's, we have a little bit more stretches between games now, so it's not as many games that Bill's missing, but it's still quite a few, and quite a few important ones.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'm a little bit scared because, Bill is absolutely worth a goal a game. But hopefully we can find a goalkeeper that's like worth a goal every 1 or 2 game, or 2 or 3 games. Like occasionally don't just gift them, or occasionally just let's have it even. But it seems like maybe Kempen is on the path to give one up a game. But the thing that I'm sure in is that if there's a problem or there needs to be a change of hands, Sites will probably be ready. I mean, we've seen he's been active on Twitter, and we saw it early in the season when it was originally Sites' job filling in for Bill, and there was a big switch after some shakiness, and so if we see shakiness this time, we'll have Sites, and that's not. I feel a little bit better than that than maybe previous DC United goalkeeping rosters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't expect too many clean sheets with Kempen in the back, and that's okay because we can score goals now, and if it goes terribly, we also have Sites. So I feel good about the situation, and I'm wishing the best for John there.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see John over Chris. But again, obviously things are happening in practice, and I mean, that's not necessarily in concrete for the next game, right? So we'll just have to see how that goes. But you like competition in any position. I think when Bill's healthy, that competition is maybe a little bit more there's a little bit more widespread of expectations of actually starting when Bill is healthy. But I'd love to see them battling it out and possibly seeing some switches.
Yeah, I got to credit the question there because that was some random guy in the chat, John Lee's question. Thanks for the question, John.
Y'all are ridiculous. Okay, so I feel like we have really delved into this game. It was a lot of fun. DC United is fun to watch again, which is always good. So I think it's coming to that time of the pod to award our man of the match. DC United gave it to Ola Kamara last night, and then MLS put Andy Nahar on their team of the week, which is super exciting. But Joshua, I'll go to you first.
Oh man, I have the most to say, so I'm going to steal all of the thunder. Alfaro, again, one of his best games. I don't know if he was the man of the match, but again, I think he deserves shouts for that. Julian Gressel on this team is amazing. Past my fandom and everything. The guy gets forward and creates chances, and then, yeah, like you mentioned, he sprinted all the way back to be there to block that shot. And I think, yeah, you're right. He was definitely in that guy's head. And he also has other defensive moments. Like, he's a solid defensive player and one of the best creators from his position. And it's always evident. And he's been one of the more consistent players for DC United this year, even though he's been frustrated at times. And, and thankfully, finally, someone finished one of his chances. Andy Nahar, who I'm going to give my man of the match to, just because of what he's done for this team as far as his movement from the back. I think talking about Alfaro mentioned how they're given a little bit of more license, and that's really embodied by Nahar. He gets forward, and then we love to see one of Julian's chances put away. So mainly for that, and for coming back and scoring, and the beautiful storyline, Andy Nahar is my man of the match.
All right, Michael.
Yeah, I think that's a great shot. I think Andy is starting to put up those performances week in, week out. you're starting to expect him to dazzle when he's going forward. Whether it's tapping the ball around a man between the legs, he's he almost takes your breath away every time he gets it out there. I thought he had a great game and obviously a great finish. I think for me, my man of the match is going to be Julian Gressel. I thought you had great play out of all the guys on the wings. I thought Kevin, in particular, early was getting a lot of opportunities. And I think Paul was really finding those incisive passes in the first half. I think in the second half, you started to see that he started to run out of gas a little bit. And the way that Paul plays, he's got to be able to go all out all the time. And when that starts to go, it's a challenge. But fortunately, we have depth there. But for me, Julian Gressel had beautiful service in, had those defensive responsibilities that we talked about, getting all the way back. He really had a complete game, and you could tell that he was also gassed at the end. I think we looked at each other and said, after a tackle, I think the 88th or 89th minute, it was like, this is what I've got left, and he's going to go in there and make it happen. So I thought Julian had a great game, and happy to give him my man of the match.
You got Sam.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys left it wide open for me. I was between two. You took Andy Nahar, so I'll revert back to
It's not how this works.
It is how it works. I feel like when multiple people deserve a shout, you got to give them all a shout. I thought Kevin was great last night. Definitely pulling all those fouls. He's been really good at that, really knowledgeable. Because a couple of them, I think in the third minute, right, the very first one, he tried to do a move, got fouled, and kind of like stuck his tongue out to someone else on the team. Like definitely intentionally drew that foul. Got a pretty early yellow out of it. And then halfway through the game was able to shift both mid-game and then get those more in-depth conversations at halftime and still really make an impact. I thought he's just continued to grow. I love that not only DC United fans, but people around the league are really starting to see it. So yeah, always a fun shout.
There's an art to drawing fouls, and Kevin's starting to develop a bit. A lot of the time he was matched up on a guy who looked like he probably had 50 pounds on him. So it makes it a little bit easier to fall down in that case. And he was also the victim of a real horror tackle that I think we saw several people, including ourselves, again from across the field, wonder whether it might not be worthy of a straight red. But Kevin's certainly starting to learn the dark arts there, whether it's deserved or not. He's playing the game to its fullest.
Yeah, but he's got the skills to back it up, so he's not just a player flopping all around. Sure. So we have a lot of soccer coming up. Loudoun United is playing at Charleston on Friday at 7:30.
Oh man, I think the goal differential in that matchup this season is probably like, it's also double digits to like Ola Kamara's goal scoring tally. I think it's, I don't know. I think Loudoun got some back, but it's been pretty one-sided. I don't know if Loudoun's got one over Charleston this year. I can keep a good eye on that one.
Well,
but it should be fun.
Friday. We'll see on Friday. Yep. And then the Washington Spirit are at Houston on Friday for a Houston home game this time. And that's Friday at 8:30. They unfortunately lost to Portland 1-0 on Saturday. But hopefully they'll be able to turn it around on Friday. And then our big game coming up on Sunday, DC United are at Nashville. And we're super excited because 3 of the 4 of us will be at the game. We're very excited to be traveling to Nashville for the first time for a soccer game. Should be super fun. We've got a big house. I know a bunch of different supporters are going. So hopefully we'll all be able to meet up and just have a good time. And hopefully we'll be creating some content for you. But I did want to highlight, we were talking earlier in the podcast about really coming in clutch with those wins for those teams who are in and around us on the table. We mentioned it a couple times. I just wanted to outline the table for everybody. So New England is in first place with 40 points, as we mentioned, pretty much running away with the Eastern Conference at this point.
And the league.
Yeah. Orlando City is in second with 30. And then New York City, Philadelphia, and Nashville all tied for third with 28 points. Right after them, you've got yours truly, DC United, with 27 points. So, again, a big match this Sunday against Nashville, possibly leaping them in the table, putting some more distance also between us and the playoff line. Behind us, you've got Columbus in 7th with 24, and then Montreal outside of the playoffs with 23. So we're definitely extending that gap between us and the playoff line, which only means good things going down the stretch.
Yeah, and the Red Bulls are all the way down the well, so we're good.
Yes. Which we love
it's
to
gonna be
see.
interesting. Yeah, taking on this Nashville team coming off of a late loss against a hapless Miami team. That's the kind of goal that it hurts to give up. We saw it with our game against NYCFC, and obviously DC United has managed to turn around since then. But it will be interesting to see how Nashville comes out playing at home. It'll be a challenge. They're their second season, and certainly a team that's on or ahead of schedule as far as what you'd expect from them. So looking forward to it, and hope you all have a great time enjoying all that Nashville has to offer.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We're still going to try to convince you for that last minute plane ticket. But yeah, that'll be a fun one. Check us out on Twitter. We'll keep you all updated about when we're going to bring you that game show. Obviously, with the travel logistics, we're going to do our best to get back to our regularly scheduled right after the game programming as soon as possible. Appreciate y'all, bearing with us as these scheduled changes come up. And just love y'all listening. Love the support we get. We love when you come say hey during the game, during tailgates, whatever. I wanted to give a shout out to Omar, and who I assume was his son, but the young dude next to him last night leaving the stadium. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for saying hey. We hope everyone enjoys it. Hopefully you all can, interact with us online. Let us know what y'all are thinking. Joshua, you want to remind them to...
Yeah, just come say hey to us if we're in Nashville. If you're in Nashville too, come say hey. And do whatever you want on YouTube. You're adults.
All right. So I think that's everything. Y'all have any last parting words?
Vamos.
All right. Awesome. Well, again, thanks so much for listening. This has been Tried and True, the DC United Postgame podcast presented by Heineken.